Ever noticed how the loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful? That's because true power isn't about volume, it's about control. And sometimes, the greatest control comes from saying nothing at all. Most of us think that to be heard, we have to keep talking, to fill every empty space with our own voice. We believe that silence is a sign of weakness or uncertainty. But here's what nobody tells you. Silence is actually one of the most potent tools of influence you can master. It's a secret weapon that top negotiators, leaders, and influencers use to command respect and gain the upper hand. Let's dive into our first psychological insight. Silence creates a vacuum. Human nature abhors a vacuum, especially in conversation. When you deliberately pause after someone speaks, or after you've made a key point, you create a space. The other person feels an almost irresistible urge to fill that space. This is incredibly useful in negotiations. Imagine you make an offer and then just stop talking. The silence becomes uncomfortable for the other party, often prompting them to reveal their own thoughts, offer concessions, or provide more information than they originally intended, just to break the tension. They end up negotiating against themselves, and all you did was stay quiet. This leads us to our second insight. Silence amplifies your words. In a world of constant noise and chatter, words can lose their meaning. But when you speak less frequently, your contributions gain immense weight. Think about it. If someone is constantly talking, you start to tune them out. But when a typically quiet person speaks, everyone leans in. Their words feel more deliberate, more thoughtful, and more significant. Strategic silence acts as a frame for your speech, making every word you do say land with greater impact. People will listen more closely because they know you only speak when you have something important to contribute. Next up, psychological insight number 3. Silence enhances observation. When you're not busy formulating your next sentence, you're free to truly observe what's happening around you. You can focus on the nonverbal cues that others are sending. You'll notice the subtle shift in their posture, the flicker of doubt in their eyes, the way their tone changes. These signals often reveal more about their true feelings and intentions than their words ever could. By being the observer instead of the performer, you gather a wealth of hidden information. This is a massive advantage in any social or professional setting, allowing you to understand the underlying dynamics of a group and respond with incredible precision. Now, this is where most people fail. They mistake silence for passivity. They think being quiet means they've lost control of the conversation. But the opposite is true. This brings us to psychological insight number 4. Silence projects confidence and authority. Staying calm and composed while others are frantically talking shows that you are in control of your emotions. It signals that you are not reactive, but thoughtful. A leader who can listen patiently while their team debates an issue, without jumping in, projects an aura of unshakable confidence. This calm demeanor makes others feel more secure and more likely to trust your judgment when you finally do speak. You become the anchor in the storm. Let's explore insight number 5. Silence builds trust and rapport. When you give someone the space to speak without interruption, you are sending a powerful message. I value what you have to say. You have my full attention. This simple act of active, silent listening is one of the fastest ways to build rapport. The other person feels heard and respected, which makes them more open and honest with you. Instead of a verbal battle, the conversation becomes a collaborative exchange. They will be more willing to listen to your perspective in return, because you first gave them the courtesy of yours. Psychological insight number 6 is that silence can be a powerful form of persuasion. Instead of countering an objection with a barrage of facts, try a pause. When someone raises a concern, simply hold their gaze, nod thoughtfully, and remain silent for a few seconds. This does 2 things. First, it shows you are taking their objection seriously. Second, it often prompts them to elaborate on their own concern, sometimes even talking themselves out of it. They might say, "Well, I guess it's not that big of a deal when I think about it." You've guided them to a new conclusion without a single argument. Our 7th insight is a bit counterintuitive. Silence helps you think more clearly. In the heat of a fast-paced discussion, our brains can get overwhelmed. We feel pressured to respond instantly, which often leads to saying something we haven't fully thought through. Strategic silence is your built-in reset button. Taking a brief pause before you answer allows your mind to organize your thoughts, filter out the noise, and formulate a response that is concise, articulate, and truly reflects what you want to say. It's the difference between reacting and responding. Now, for our 8th psychological insight. Silence can de-escalate conflict. When emotions are running high, adding more words is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Responding to an angry outburst with quiet, calm attention can be incredibly disarming. It denies the other person the fight they might be expecting. Your silence communicates that you are not going to be drawn into the drama. It creates a space for them to cool down and often leads to a more rational and productive conversation once the initial emotional storm has passed. The final one changes everything. Psychological insight number 9. Silence makes you unpredictable and intriguing. People are creatures of habit. Expect a certain rhythm in conversation, a back-and-forth volley. When you break that pattern with silence, you become an enigma. People can't easily categorize you or predict your next move. This creates a sense of curiosity and respect. They wonder, what are they thinking? This air of mystery makes you more compelling and influential. You're not just another voice in the crowd. You're a strategic player whose moves are carefully considered. By mastering silence, you transform from a predictable participant into a captivating force. Subscribe for more.